So the idea of this exhibition was developed out of personal belief, which is that every exhibition or any exhibitions I have made or I have seen are just then one possibility of making them or seeing them. One possibility is among many others, as Marcel Broodthaers once said. And so the exhibition is loosely inspired by also a book by a French author, Raymond Queneau, a book written in the 60s, which was called 100,000 Billion Poems, and is a book made of 10 sonnets of 14 lines, of stripped lines that the reader was meant to recombine. So you have the title of the book. The title of the book actually was the number of possible combinations you can obtain from these sonnets. And so I thought that would have been interesting to translate these sort of these strategies adopted by Queneau and also the Oulipo group into the exhibition making. And so I commissioned 9 artists to make 9 new works, which I installed for the opening of the exhibition in the space. But the day after the opening, these works has been taken down, and every visitor of the exhibition has the possibility to rearrange the same exhibition. So basically the idea is to activate a process which I cannot control, and the same exhibition is becoming an exhibition machine. And so you have an exhibition of exhibitions, and similar to the way Oulipo was, let's say, similar to the Oulipo strategies. The exhibition is combining, let's say, a set of rules, but then a total freedom. The only rules we have is that you have to exhibit all the works, and that the exhibition can be arranged by one person per time, but then you have all the time you need to make it. And so there is also, I wanted to provide a different experience with the works and with the perception of what an exhibition is or could be. So you have really time to be engaged with the works, to touch them, and to really to set them in the space. And the concept of the exhibition has nothing to do with the idea of a workshop or a sort of do-it-yourself attitude, but is closer to a certain idea of writing. And that's again why it makes sense, the comparison with literature, because if we want to take as an example the book of Queneau, each line is symbolically a work in this exhibition, and so you can recombine the works in almost sort of infinitive ways. And the other part is also the after each visitor has rearranged the exhibition, this let's say version will be documented through a Polaroid. Will create a sort of visual diary in progress, and then by a number of digital images that will then constitute the catalog. So even the catalog will be, also a catalog will be a catalog of exhibitions. I also contemplate the idea of failure as not, let's say, a negative value, but so even if, like, most of the visitors will not, will decide to not rearrange the exhibition, it's fine, in the sense that it's not something negative. It's also about, especially now where visitors are considered numbers, it's really instead to pay back also the importance of the spectator as a main player of an exhibition. So it's not only about getting something, but totally being an active part of it, which is, of course, in the art history you have several examples of artists who approached this idea, and Marcel Broodthaers was, of course, maybe the most famous one. But I think I thought would have been interesting to transfer this number of reflections into the exhibition making, into doing an exhibition which is really about the process than the result. And when I say is not a failure if most of the visitors will not accept to actually being engaged with the idea of the exhibition, with the process of the exhibition, is fine, or is also interesting because will become a sort of portrait of the audience, of this, of the city, of this institution, of the audience of this institution. So it can be seen also a sort of footprint of the specific audience we have here. And so it's an exhibition full of layers of that are playing with each other in a constant move, and it's a very also performative exhibition because you would also have certain people witnessing others making the exhibition, and we'll have others instead that will dismantle the show. So it will become a sort of choreography where the works will act as real props, and the audience will be really the main player of the novel, and that's why also the title is an homage to the famous play by Luigi Pirandello, and also the fact that it's in English is another kind of act, another gesture, because translating is already an act of writing. The act of display is really an effective one. It's not only about aesthetics, it's about meanings, it's about, you can, if you display a work on the floor, has of course a totally different meaning than place them on the wall. And this is not only about sort of aesthetics or any idea of decoration. Since when you will enter in the exhibition, the works will be not installed, the experience you have of them is more of them as objects than as works of art. in a way they lose their aura. And also the idea of being physically engaged with a work, it's important because you really get the sense of the weight, and it's really like having a human relationship with another person. It's like touching or get a different feeling of it, of looking at it as a sort of three-dimensional image, which seems a contradiction, but when we see an exhibition, it's not about touching for the sake of touching.